Hey! Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the Dice Tower. So?
Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Dice Tower with the news for September 23rd, 2013. A lot of exciting things have happened. Some of them were unexpected. Last week I found that I could stream live from YouTube. So I did a test run of that, and lo and behold, 20 people turned into, I think, almost 200 people, and I did an impromptu question answer. I thought, hey, that was fun, let's do it again. So then we did another one last night where Sam and Z joined me for a less impromptu with 2 days head start. We'll do more of that, and if this works out, and if I can get this to work properly, we'll be able to do this live from conventions and stuff, which is really exciting if we can pull that off. And also maybe you'll be able to watch live games, so that's exciting. But what's the most exciting thing, I think, for most people is the fact that the Cool Stuff contest is finally over, and I have the winners here. What we did is we had 10 different podcasts involved, and each of those podcasts have their own winners. So let me remind you, from the On-Board Game Contest, Tim Weaver won. Congratulations. From the Party Game Cast, it was Tom Stone. From the Secret Cabal, Akalutu Molela, and I'm just going to call you Mo, because that's what you call yourself. Uriah Otting from Lulology. Andrew Gangler from Not Just Another Gaming Podcast, Tracy Wayland from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, Shelby Smith from The Cardboard Jungle, Ferdinand Capitulo from The Dice Tower, my podcast, Drew Pritchard from, oh, hey, congratulations, Drew. You're the winner for Dice Tower Video. And Patrick Ross from The Geek All-Stars. So that's 10 different winners, so we'll get back to this in a second. First of all, I want to say to everyone who entered for the Dice Tower Video, I mean, your chances were small because I think we almost had 5,000 people enter. That was fantastic. Thank you, guys. We are going to take all that feedback and look at it and see how we can improve. Sometimes people say things like, oh, your production values, they're not very good. Well, we're working on them, okay? Production values does cost money, and we're doing our best. If it helps, take a look at this video as opposed to the first video we put out, and hopefully we're doing some things better. But anyhow, thank you everybody entered, but for this one, Drew Pritchard is the winner for the Dice Tower Video. Now, I got 10 winners. Each of these winners is going to get a $50 gift certificate, but one of them is going to get a $100 gift certificate, and one of them is going to get a $500 gift certificate from Cool Stuff. And we're going to do that live here. Okay, well, not actually live, but we're going to record it live. We're going to let you watch how we're going to do it. I didn't have a giant 10-sided die. I thought I did, but it's missing somewhere. I will get one for the next time. But what we'll do is I'll roll 2 6-sided dice. The first 6-sided die, 1 to 3, I'll look at the first half of the list. 4 to 6, I'll look at the second half of the list. And then I'll number those lists from 1 to 5, and we'll re-roll a 6. Sound confusing? Hopefully it's not. Let's go to the table. Okay, so we'll keep in touch with this being live here. And we're going to focus a look at my table here, and you can see I have 2 giant 6-sided dice on this. And for this, I'm going to ask my daughter Ruby if you would come over to the table and pick up the dice. But before she does that, I'm going to number the names here on the list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the first half of the list. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the second half of the list. This half will be 1 through 3, and this half will be 4 through 6. So first we're going to do the top whoever gets the $100 gift certificate. First, let's find which side of the list we're going to do, the top or the bottom. So Ruby, roll that die. Throw it on the table. Here we go. Go. Okay, 1. That means the first half of the list. Great. Now we're going to roll this and see who gets it on the first half. Ready? And go. All right, she rolled a 2, and 2 is Tom Stone. So congratulations, Tom Stone, for winning a $100 gift certificate from Cool Stuff. All right, Ruby, let's try this one more time. This is the big deal for the $500 gift certificate. Throw the one to see which part of the list it's on. Go. Throw it. Making that dramatic. All right, 3, also the first half of the list. Okay, now roll the second die. Are you ready? Go!
I missed.
You missed. All right, well, go grab it. This is live. All right, you got the die? Where is it? You found it? All right.
Mm-mm.
No?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Right there!
Okay, hooray!
I found them next to the back.
Okay, now stand on that side and throw it towards Daddy. You just throw it. Throw it on the table. Go. 2. Oh, that's Tom Stone again. He can't win twice. All right, well, roll it again. 3. And Mo from the Secret Cabal has won our big winning $500 gift certificate. Hooray! Thank you, Ruby, for your help. Now let's get to the news. For news this week, we are now in the pre-Essen Spiel days, which means there's a lot of games coming out, and hopefully Z and I will be able to take a look at the upcoming games from Essen and tell you what we think, although it's harder to get information on some of those. But there's a lot of new games coming out, so we'll be talking about that as time goes by. Battle Lore from Fantasy Flight, the second edition, is coming out. They've shown a little bit about the scenario cards for that, on how each player will pick a scenario card and you put them together to get the battle that you're playing. It's a pretty interesting way of doing things. Sounds like a lot of fun. The Golden Geeks, which is Board Game Geeks, Board Game Awards, are moving to the beginning of the year. So instead of the nebulous time range that they had before, it will now be a whole calendar year. Playdeck has announced that they have Yasumi Matsuno on board to help do some content for some of their games. He's the guy who designed Final Fantasy Tactics. Period. Done. End of story. They're also bringing Tanto Curie to the iPad. And Serlin Games, they do Yomi, Puzzle Strike, Flash Duel. They have an app that's now available that you can use. It kind of helps it either, keeps track of life or different things for their games. Spielbox is a magazine which has a lot of articles about board games and reviews and things. It's published in Germany, but there is an English version available. People buy it mostly, though, for the things that come with it, and the newest one's going to have a couple things for nations and 6 new tiles for Carcassonne. So that's pretty cool. For news of the week, Days of Wonder has announced a new map for Ticket to Ride. This has been speculated for a while, but we now know they have Ticket to Ride Netherlands. This is a very different map than normal. It's a single map. You already need one of the copies of Ticket to Ride or Ticket to Ride Europe, or one of the games that already comes with trains and things to play. It uses a few fewer trains than the regular ones, but has some cool things. First of all, a lot of big tickets. There are 23 tickets that are 17 points to 34 points. A lot of big tickets going around in that way. But what really makes this game interesting here is they have these bridge toll tokens. So you start the game with 30 of these tokens. And when you build from one route to another route, you have the first person to build. There's double routes everywhere in this board, and you use them for everything. The first person pays those bridge toll tokens to the bank. The second person pays them to the first person. So in this game, there's a real crunch because you want to have as many of these tokens as possible at the end of the game, since whoever has the most will get a huge bonus. I think 55 points to the person who has the most. There's also other minor changes. There's a staggered score start, since going first is a big deal. There's just a lot of cool things that are involved in this map, and it looks like it plays very differently. You can get rid of this the toll tokens if you want to, but I think that would be besides the point. Besides, it's another cool map. So anyway, Days of Wonder. This is coming out in the fourth quarter of this year. A single map of the Netherlands. Of course, my contributors are going to have a lot of reviews this week. I myself will be reviewing a few games. I'm going to be taking a look at this Magic the Gathering Heroes vs. Monster 2-player dual deck pack. That's just something I'm interested in. There's also a review coming out soon of Trains. I said I was going to have it last week, but the editing didn't get done. But it's already done and ready. You'll probably see that tomorrow, actually. There'll be some Miami Dice reviews this week. We'll be taking a look back at Zularedo and the new Pandemic in the Lab. Francis Drake, well, you'll just have to wait to see about that one. But there's some pretty neat games here. Yes, Zulkin is on my list, hopefully to get done this week. So these are the games that you should hopefully see coming as reviews from the Dice Tower this week. Our question this week comes from Ryan, and he asked me if I've ever played euchre, and he talked about the fun that he and his friends have playing euchre in the Midwest. And I haven't played euchre, but then he went on to ask about traditional card games. Would we do a top 10 list of traditional card games? And the fact is that I like some traditional card games, but we don't play nearly enough of them to make a top 10 list. I played Solitaire, as I'm sure everybody has, or Spider, because those were available on the computer, so you just kept playing Solitaire and Spider many times. Then there's other games, Hearts and Spades and Poker. Those are the three big ones, although there's many other ones. I guess Bridge would be included in there. Bridge is not something that I'm very... There's a couple reasons I'm not a big fan of Bridge. One is I'm not a fan of the dummy player aspect of the game. I like to play myself, thank you. And someone says, well, you're only out of the game 25% of the time. Well, that's too much for me. And then I also don't like the convoluted bidding system, and then you have to like divulge what it is to their team, so then why do you even have it? It's kind of just, I'm sure that a lot of people like it, but it's just its own thing. Hearts and Spades. Spades is okay, although I think the other trick-taking games have kind of taken Spades and made it better. Hearts itself is one I like quite a bit. In fact, last week I believe I reviewed Hearts Switched, which was a good version of Hearts. Hearts is a game I enjoy quite a bit. I believe way back in the day I played Uno Hearts, or there was some kind of Hearts mix with Uno, which I thought was pretty fun. And then Poker itself, I'm not a gambler at all, so Poker holds an attraction to me only in the aspect of a game, and I know that when you take the bidding out, the game itself isn't as entertaining. I'm not sure why Poker warrants everything that it does on ESPN and, you know, all these people playing it. Obviously, there's money involved, and Texas Hold'em in different styles. It's okay. I think it's a cool mechanic to put into a game. I just think that itself is a game. So that's a pretty bad answer. Basically shows that I'm not a big fan of traditional card games. I think they're okay. But I mean, with all these other card games out there, the traditional deck of cards for me is interesting, but I'd rather play something else. In the Dice Tower Network, of course, remembering that you can find all the podcasts for the Dice Tower Network at dicetowernetwork.com. And we do have Dice Tower Audio running again, which is audio of all our videos. You can find that at dicetoweraudio.com. And anyway, Dice Tower Showdown, which was the first episode. You guys seem to like that a lot, where we have people arguing over different things, and I appreciate that. This Friday, we'll be releasing a new episode of that, Kalis vs. Lords of Waterdeep, and also Kickstarter. Is Kickstarter good for the hobby or bad for the hobby? Ludology number 65, they finish up their cool stuff contest and look at all the different entries there. Little Metal Dog number 66 interviews the Brashalls and Mike Elliott, the designer of Thunderstone. Secret Cabal hits number 50, and they take a detailed look at Agricola, and they take a look back at Descent 2nd Edition, as well as the top 50 games on Board Game Geek, a controversial filled episode. Take a listen. Party Games episode number 18 takes a look at party games that make your friends do something, where you can make your friend do something as part of the game. And Board Game University number 18 is coming out this week, where I interview Bobby Stickle. He works with GTS distribution, and so this is a really good episode because what is distribution? How does it even get involved in the board game universe? Take a listen to this episode and find out. And of course, Dice Tower episode, I don't even know what episode it is, coming out this week, where we have another top 10 list for you. A lot of cool things, lots of questions answered. That will be coming out on Tuesday. And so we take a look at another shelf and why I keep the games I do. Dixit is a very obvious choice. This includes Dixit, Dixit Odyssey, Dixit 2, Dixit 3. I don't know how many Dixits are in there, but there's a lot in there, and I like it. It's one of my go-to party games, so an easy choice for me to keep. Nothing personal, of course. I'd want a copy of my own game. And there's Space Cadets and Space Cadets Dice Duel. I'm not sure how long Space Cadets regular will stay there, but Dice Duel is in my collection for a while. Survive is a great family game, one that I bring to a lot of family get-togethers. And, you know, I just have a soft spot for Batman, so I really enjoy the Batman Gotham City strategy game. I think it's a good one. That one's in my collection. Hamburgum is a Euro game I like quite a bit, about building churches with different resources. I'm actually going to be doing a review of this sometime in the future. One of my goals over the next several months is to review every game in my collection that I have not reviewed. Exodus Proxima Centauri will only stay in my collection until the new version comes out, which looks like it's much better. Defenders of the Realm is a fantastic cooperative game from Richard Launius. Love it. You know, has some similar things to Pandemic, but with a fantasy theme, and a strong fantasy theme at that. And then Basket Boss. Basket Boss is a great game in which you draft basketball players. I love the theme of it, and that's why it's in my collection. This week I wanted to talk about a comment that we made on our live show last night where I talked about being the game whisperer, and I wanted to clarify that a bit because I don't want it to come off the wrong way. As someone who reviews a lot of board games, and I'm very opinionated on board games, too much, some people say, oh, you're so arrogant, and I really apologize for that. I don't mean to come across as arrogant. I just have strong opinions, and that's often confused with arrogance, and sometimes it is, I suppose. But I like games. We talk about them. We do top 10 lists. We do top 100 lists. And I get a lot of emails. I mean a lot of emails from people asking me to help them with their game purchases. Now this causes some logistical problems. First of all, I really don't have time to answer all these in great detail, and I feel bad about that because it would be nice to answer them in great detail. And so when you get short, terse answers to some of these, and I apologize, it's just because, I mean, if all we did was answer emails, then we would never actually get the show done. But I don't know how to phrase this bluntly, but here's part of what you need to do. You need to make your own decisions when it comes to games. See, when you email me or when you email any of the other reviewers or podcasters things and say, what do you guys think? Should I get this game or this game? Well, we will always tell you what we think about games. But honestly, we don't know you. We don't know who you are. We don't know who you game with. We don't know what your likes and dislikes are. Yeah, sure, you can tell us that in paragraph after paragraph. But if you know yourself so well, then you need to make a decision. See, it's really dangerous for me if, let's say you say, should I get Dungeon Run or Ristorante Italia? Okay. Maybe those games will appear in my top 100 list or not. You'll have to wait and see on that one. But if I say this one's an 83 and this one's an 86, for example, does that mean this one's better and this is one you should get? Well, no. So therefore, I need to know more about you in that regard. And it's hard for me to just to throw that out there. Besides, most of these games here, we've done full-fledged reviews on. So go watch the reviews, and you have to decide which one's best for you. You know, there's a lot of people out there who don't like to make decisions, and I understand that. Making decisions is a kind of a scary thing. But it's even scarier for us when we make these decisions for you. I've had a guy one time who threatened to sue me because I said a game was good in my review, and he played it, and then he found out that it wasn't in my top 100, and he was irritated that I had falsely advertised it. I didn't falsely advertise it. But you can see the same thing here. When someone says, Tom, which one of these two games, should I get this game or not? And I say, yes. And then you get it and you don't like it. Then what happens? You blame me. And I prefer that you not blame me for the games that you don't like. I prefer you to look at them. Now, sometimes I'm going to rave about a game in a review. And I'm going to say, this game is great. You should get it. I know I said that before. All right. And then you get it and you say, Tom, you were wrong. All right, fine. But at the same time, a lot of that you should get it stuff is really hyperbole. When it comes down to getting games, and when you compare games and look at games, and I know that budgets are tight and we can't get every game, and time is tight and you can't play every game. So which games to get? That's where I say you got to do research, just like everything else. Whenever I buy a new piece of equipment, a camera, let's say I'm going to buy a new video camera, and I probably will get one in 2014. I go and I read lots of reviews. I look at comparisons. I read everything about getting that video camera, and then I finally buy one, but it was my decision, and if I don't like it, I only have myself to blame. I can email people and ask for their opinions, this camera, but again, they don't know necessarily what I'm going to be using the camera for or in every situation. So, make your own decisions, buy games, stand by them. Sometimes it has to be kind of a shot in the dark, but we live in a society today where there are reviews and so many things, features online that you can find out about these things, and most people also have access to game stores and you can play them before you get them. If you have to have a game before anyone else does, well, then you're just guessing. But if you're going to compare games, we'll compare them for you. We'll do top 10s of games that are similar, and I'll say my favorite, and Sam will say his favorite, and Z will say his favorite, and then everyone will say why we're wrong. That's because everyone has different opinions. You're not me, and you're probably better off for not being me. So don't ask me to make your decision. Now, I'm not telling no one to never email me or to send in questions for the video of the Dice Tower, we will certainly take those questions and stuff. I just want to explain why we can't always answer them. And I think if you're really looking for a comparison of two games, your best bet is to go online and post it on Board Game Geek and the Dice Tower Guild or other places and say that, and you'll get a lot of people's responses. And you're not just doing what Tom Vasel said. I'm not the dictator of the hobby. I'm not the game whisperer. I am just here to tell you about games I think are great, games I think are not great, but in the end, you're the one who has to decide which ones you're going to get. All right, folks, that's it for this time. Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower. We have a lot of great reviews, a lot of great things coming for you this week. Always stay tuned at thedicetower.com. But I almost forgot the most important thing of all. Not the most important thing of all, but listen. Yeah, I see that. On thedicetower.com, there is a link. I think it's under September 22nd, the link, or 21st. To vote in the top 100 games of all time. The People's Choice Top 100. Vote in the People's Choice, okay? You can go in there and you can pick one game. You can pick up to 20 games, your favorite games. You rank them, and then we'll do that. And you need to do this by October 1st. Vote in this, and we will see what the People's Choice Top 100 games of all times are. They can be any game you want. You can vote for any game in existence. What games will win, we'll see soon enough. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. This is Ruby Vasel. And you've been watching The Dice Tower.
To find out more about all of our podcasts, check out dicetowernetwork.com. To see a listing of our videos, head to dicetower.com. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Cool Stuff Incorporated, where you can buy games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock.
Shut the door.